After firing their head coach and having yet another disappointing season, I'm taking over Auburn until we can win a national championship. It is now nearing almost a decade since they won 10 games in a season, but that's not the only challenge we're going to face with the Tigers. Since I'm taking them over where they're currently at in real life, our recruiting board is completely empty in week 11, and I'm also not allowed to do any manual player progression. To pile on, our future star quarterback, Deuce Knight, who Auburn fans are so excited about his star development, well, he's going to want to transfer since he cares about pro potential, and I doubt there's any chance of us keeping him around since Jackson Arnold has shown that NFL scouts aren't going to be calling his name. I have a feeling it's going to be a bad time to go after a quarterback though, because at this point in the season, in week 11, there's not going to be any prospects available that are going to turn me on, that are going to turn this program around. Or at least I thought. D'Angelo Shipman would come in with 90 throw power, 85 speed. He is so solid that he has made one of these guys intimidated. He won't even consider our school because of playing time. So that was a nice little discovery alongside some 4-stars that we're just going to throw some money at, hoping that they commit. I also think it's important to note that the season is not over yet. We're currently 4-5. There is still hope that we make it to a bowl game. I just forced wins to get things accurate. Obviously, the score from Kentucky and Auburn was 10-3. It was embarrassing for both of our teams. But the Tigers decided to give Ashton Daniels a chance, and he also couldn't do much, so we might as well throw out freshman Deuce Knight and hope that he doesn't transfer away after this first season. If we're going to make it to a bowl game, we have to win 2 of our final 3 matchups, one of them against an FCS school, the other one after Vanderbilt, the Iron Bowl against Alabama. So this truly is a must-win game for us, and any other season basically in the last decade, in the last 2 decades, I would have been pumped up about Vanderbilt. We would have felt like this was a free win. But now Diego Pavia has entered the chat. I have to say, he's not put us in a good position as we enter this 4th quarter. But it's almost a good thing if Deuce Knight isn't incredible, because we know we're probably going to lose him. We just picked up that 4th down. Now we're going to go over the middle. They swat it down. So by the end of this game, we went to Nashville and lost 33-7. This is clearly not the start that we want with Auburn, and I will point out that I believe the hardest rebuilds in college football 26 are whenever you take over a team that's not doing well inside a huge conference like the SEC or the Big Ten. Especially since the SEC is about to move to 9 conference games a year, there will always be so many good teams in our schedule that we're going to have to beat if we ever want to turn around the Tigers. But how can you forget the FCS opponent that you got to schedule in mid-November just to get that free win at the end of the season? In real life, the Tigers will be taking on Mercer, and we beat them 38-13, which sets us up for our final game. It is going to be the most important one on our schedule every season, the Iron Bowl, where we get to host Alabama. I think what I really need to start looking for in recruiting is finding another player with the name of Chris Davis. It's not that uncommon of a name. I bet we could snag one. That'll help us. I can just add that to the list of goals I want to achieve in this video. Cam Coleman, up the seam with 3.5 minutes left, is about to put us back up by 3 points against Alabama, and I cannot stress enough how important that play was for us. It might not matter though with the way Ty Simpson has moved this offense down the field, but we just got to hold strong, force them to only a field goal, and we're going to hit Ty. No, we're going to miss him. We're going to miss him. It's okay though, Deuce Knight. He has his opportunity to be great here. He's already going to get us like 25 on the ground. And outside of quarterback, I would love if we could always have a really good running back in this video. It just makes sense for Auburn. I'm just not sure how many guys on this roster we're going to be able to maintain at the end of this year. We got that throw out in time. Deuce Knight has actually been incredible for us. He has over 200 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and there is just all this space on the field for us to get out. I honestly cannot believe how good the blocking is, because EA just did a roster update, so this offensive line should be nothing like this. That completion, though, sets us up on the 1-yard line, and we're going to be able to just run it in with Darrell Robinson. So it's looking like the Iron Bowl is going to be ours, though we have to close it out still. A couple seconds left. And I don't think Jordan Hare has been this loud all year. They finally have some life to him. If we happen to lose here, though, it wouldn't be the first time that Auburn's lost to Bama on a heartbreaking Hail Mary. They're not even getting close. And I can't believe we've done it, but we've become bowl eligible with the Tigers. I should also point out that Cam Coleman has set the Auburn single-season receiving yards record. So you might be wondering, are we going to be able to keep around the 89 overall sophomore receiver for another year before he goes on to the NFL? And unfortunately, he cares about championship contender. Even if we win a bowl game, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get that up to an A, which is what he requires. So just like Deuce Knight, he is most likely leaving our program. But I've been working to find other faces to fill that void, and I feel like for some of these 4-stars, we still have a decent chance. There are bigger programs that are most likely going to take a couple of them away from us. Even on D'Angelo Shipman, Tennessee might want him. But here's the thing, if we don't end up getting him, we'll just find somebody else else in the transfer portal. Even if we didn't do very well in SEC play, I think being a part of the conference alone gives us a great option to get players that we typically would not find if we were in a smaller one. And there it is. We've gotten our first signing. He's from Alabama. He is staying in state, and he's a 3-star center. I really can't be getting that excited about signing a 3-star. Now, you all did tell me on Twitter to go ahead, fire their offensive coordinator. I'd say that makes a lot of sense after only scoring 3 points on Kentucky, but we are going to keep around DJ Durkin. I think as a defensive coordinator, to be a talent developer, this is a very rare archetype that I love, and I want him around. It's also going to be my goal in this video to get talent developer eventually. The hard part about this to unlock it is you have to have 2 players drafted in the first round. It's always a challenge, but I believe we'll be able to get there. Dante Moore won the Heisman Trophy with 48 touchdowns. Who are we getting in our bowl game? That is what we're looking forward to. Somehow Charlotte has made it to one. If you want to think about programs that have like no success, it's normally them. I probably need to rebuild them at some point. And I feel like this is a free bowl win for us. I'm actually far more excited, though, about who we could potentially hire to be our offensive coordinator, Mark Ryan. I saw this guy. I saw the talent developer on him, a level 41. If we bring this in as our OC, we're going to be developing players so easily. But we have to wait until we get past the Armed Forces Bowl to find out if he wants to be a part of our team. In an ideal world, this won't be the final time that Deuce Knight steps onto the field for Auburn. But maybe it needs to be. Why are we trailing by 6 points with 5 minutes left? We can't lose to Charlotte. I don't care if it's an Auburn thing to do. I know they've struggled in recent years, but it can't be this bad. Looks like Deuce Knight is going to be able to find Simmons inside the red zone. And Jeremiah Cobb is a player I would love to keep around at running back. He's going to take this carry, but there was a hold. It's frustrating. It's going to make it harder to convert, but I have to have faith that Cam Coleman is going to be able to toast some of these sorry corners. And maybe we'll hit our bubble here, or we're going to go for a huge handoff to Jeremiah Cobb. Depending on what Charlotte does here, if they're bluffing or not, we might just have our tight end over the middle. It's a bad throw from Deuce. And that puts us on a 4th and 8. There's no way we don't pick this up. I think we're going to have to scramble for it. And I think he's going to have enough. That was not a juke. I have not meant to spin on the last 2 plays, but that's what we've been doing. I'm a little bit rusty. I haven't played this game in over a week now, which is crazy. It's actually been 6 days since I last recorded, since I've moved into this great setup. And in my 3 years now of doing YouTube, that's the longest I've taken off from working ever. I had a wedding to go to this weekend, which weddings are so weird at this age. How is he on his feet? This is Charlotte's quarterback. Anyway, back to what I was saying. It is so weird. I'm 22 now, and I'm seeing people I grew up with have kids, have weddings that I'm attending. Some of my best friends, including roommates from college. Meanwhile, I show up. They're like, what are you up to? Well, I'm playing video games every day. Any new girl in the picture? Nope. Still not found one that I want to take serious. And I just feel like I'm at a completely different stage than others. You know, typically in these videos, when I just ramble on, we start playing really well. I lock in. We don't lose dumb games like this one to Charlotte, which we're about to lose because they're in field goal range. We need to let them score a touchdown. I would assume that they're currently in field goal range. They're settling for it. Let them get in. Let them get in or not. I am just begging them to score at this point. They found their open receiver, and we are really about to lose to Charlotte in a bowl game. We're going to lose to Charlotte after beating Alabama in the Iron Bowl. Does that make any sense at all? I can already tell this one's setting up to be a very long rebuild, but maybe we'll be able to work our magic and somehow make it down the field in like the next 20 seconds. Our only option here was to run. And you know what? It might be time. It might be time to just send it to Cam Coleman and hope for the best. Surely he can moss this kid one-on-one. It was in his hands. What a frustrating way for that play to go. We're going to have him for a 15-yard in. But this is it. It is Hail Mary or nothing. Are we going to have the luck against the 49ers? I'm an idiot. I just rolled into that hit. Don't bring it up in the comments. Let's not talk about it. If we end up having success in this video and this rebuild anyway, we'll forget about the year where we lost to Charlotte in a bowl game. But it's going to be hard to forget about the fact that we just got rejected with our offensive coordinator opening. We found the perfect fit, and he didn't want anything to do with us, so I think we're going to bring in a strategist for now. As I sit here and I just scroll through our season stats real quick, I'm noticing that a lot of our offensive production is not going to be returning next season, which really stinks. Even with our new offensive coordinator, but star dev on Malcolm Simmons, who doesn't want to leave, is a big deal because he can get up to probably like a 90 overall. As long as he doesn't decide that he'd rather play for a playoff contender like Texas Tech, who won the national championship, he'll be our top receiver in a couple years. And for players leaving, you can see that Kendrick Falk is going to be a first-round pick, so I don't care that he's gone. No chance at convincing him. We could get Eric Singleton back, though. He is a low chance at returning. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. We also couldn't convince any of the players we had the best chance at getting to come back to return. Maybe Jeremiah Cobb could, though. This is the running back I wanted to keep. Just no luck there either, though I will say, I don't think I saw Deuce Knight's name in the players transferring list. That means for at least another season, he will be with us, but I don't think we're going to get a quarterback drafted. Unless we signed one in the transfer portal, and then they could start over him. That's the only way we'd keep him around. Nobody interesting wants to come here, though. Do you think I want an Iowa quarterback? Absolutely not, but Ahmad Hardy from Missouri. If we could get him to come to Auburn, that would be the perfect fit for this program. Now, before we get too deep into the transfer portal, I have to go back and look at some of these 4-stars we were targeting. Ohio State got the tight end. They typically feed them decently well. Penn State was also able to get this center over us, but we are out recruiting NC State. And just take a look at some of the other running backs that are willing to transfer here potentially. If we got Jaheim White from West Virginia, Dylan Edwards, those would also be studs. Now, after just 2 weeks of the portal, we've picked up some surprising signings. D'Angelo Shipman, we got the quarterback to finally commit. I don't think he's a shock. We also got a 4-star high schooler, but Whit Weeks was not one that I was expecting. Somehow he is wound up on Auburn. I hope Lane Kiffin's daughter enjoys it out here. You can also see why potentially, because we had him on a week 2 visit alongside some safeties and some corners, so they just got a huge complimentary bonus, which really does have a huge effect that's right there. I've also been left with no choice but to go after Kentucky former quarterback Cutter Boley. He's from Kentucky. We cannot let him go to Louisville. That would disgust me, so we're going heavy in on him. And for some of these running backs, Dylan Edwards is going to be hard to get over Oklahoma State. Jaheim White, we're probably not going to get from Penn State, but it seems like for our top 2, including Ahmad Hardy, nobody else wants him. I have no idea why nobody else wanted him. It's a little bit concerning, but we can overlook anything that might potentially come up if he can help Auburn win some football games. And I can't believe some of the signings we ended up getting in this class. We got 3 of those 4-stars out of high school, even though we started recruiting so late this year. Through the transfer portal as well, we lost out on those running backs. We knew that. We knew that Tennessee'd probably get a tight end, but we got multiple players that are going to help out our defense. And when it comes to dev traits, D'Angelo Shipman is just going to have impact development, so we might not use the 3-star quarterback. Josh Cahill, going to have star dev, so that's great for a receiver. We also got Cutter Boley. He is impact, but he might be our future for the next couple seasons at least. Our class finished just inside the top 25, though once we compare that to the rest of the SEC, it's not very good. There is one thing that just hit me though. The fact that we signed offensive coordinator Ricky Rain and his strategist ability has done something incredible for this program. As you can see, he is tier 3. It's called lower the bar. It gives a lower deal breaker threshold for players. It causes them to not want to transfer. And while I was sitting here just looking at our roster, going through position changes, saying our running back room is going to be incredible because it is, I went over to receivers and I saw that Cam Coleman was still on the roster because we have just met his deal breaker with that head coach. There is a very good reason we took him from Old Dominion, made him our offensive coordinator. We're also getting some dev trait upgrades. And as I click into training results, I think this team's going to be pretty good. It's going to be an 86 overall. I think that'll change once we get into the season. We have 6 players above a 90 overall. And if Ahmad Hardy could carry us to a playoff appearance in year 2, that would help us out so much for the rest of this rebuild, or else things are going to keep on going downhill. I mean, this kid is a beast. Have you seen his abilities? Platinum shifty, platinum sidestep, platinum 360. It's just extremely exciting stuff. Jackson Arnold has jumped up to our best quarterback. We're still not going to play him. Don't worry, I am not dumb. And on the receiver side of things, a little bit surprised that Cam Coleman only went up by 1 overall, plus Iverson Hooks. He was this 4-star transfer I was super excited about. He comes in with just normal development, plus he cares about championship contender. He might not be on the team next year, but he could still improve a ton. Since I'd say most of our offensive and defensive line isn't anything to get too excited about, I have to highlight some of the skill players. On defense, Whit Weeks is taking another step forward. I mean, that transfer was just a huge signing for us. I don't know how we're going to do against the rest of the SEC, but most of our best players, another transfer like KJ Bolden, are the reason that we're potentially going to be able to take a step forward in year 2 of this rebuild. I can knock Hugh Freeze for a lot of things, but recruiting is not one of them. He did a pretty good job in building out this roster that we're getting to start off with, so much so that it is ranked number 24 in the country going into this year. But I still believe that I'm going to have to plan for the future because Deuce Knight is 100% going to transfer after this season. His pro potential deal breaker is not changing at all. Cutter Boley, he didn't come in as a high overall. I can wish that he turns out to be a great quarterback, but I'm not sure if I see that happening. His accuracy could progress a ton, cares about championship contender. We're going to have a good season if he's going to stick around. Let's just say that he doesn't stick around though. What is going to be our plan at quarterback after that? It is pocket passer, 4-star Jim, Marvin Atwell. We have the tier 5 pipeline. Oregon's the only other team that wants him, so we got an advantage there. He has 91 throw power, good accuracies. He's not going to be as fast as I would like. But at the end of the day, you cannot pass up on a gem like that. We have a couple other on our board that we're hopefully going to be able to land as well. Also, 1 5-star, Keir Sneed. He's a receiver with 85 speed. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I think Taylor Best could help us continue to get good running backs in the future. This is one that we could develop. I know that his acceleration could get crazy in the future. And that's basically the rundown for everything you all need to see before we get into this season. I might as well play this game against Baylor, so we start off right. Since I limit myself to only hopping into 3 games a year in these rebuilds, which forces us to build a good roster that can also win in sim, I might regret that decision. But when you get a dude like Ahmed Hardy on your team, you want to play with him, and he's going to get into the end zone. I think he is set to have a huge season for the Tigers. And truthfully, our entire offense had a really good game. Defense has been the same as well. We've held Baylor to just 14 points in this one. They're trying to make a throw on the run, but we're going to intercept them, and Bolden might be able to return it back for 6 as well. That's what we're getting out of KJ, the transfer. You know, this is exactly what Auburn needed to start off this season. And we just have to hope that from this moment, momentum can carry us to the playoffs. Now, I might be setting the expectation a little bit too high for us, but I don't care. That is what we're shooting for. And in our next game, we're taking on Southern Miss, so this should be a free win for us. After dropping 52 on their head with over 500 total yards of offense, that's exactly what we thought we were going to get, though. Deuce Knight throwing 3 interceptions. I didn't think that was what his stat line was going to turn out to be. Ahmad Hardy had almost 200 rushing yards. It is clear that we are much better on the ground, and our schedule only gets harder from this moment because we play in the SEC, because we also have Miami on here. Since I forgot to change up the schedule and make it 9 conference games, I put a harder game on the schedule. It is definitely not going to be a fun season for us, and we have to sim some of these matchups. As for recruiting, I'm just going to have to lock in and start guessing some of these hard sells if we want to win battles for these players. But here's the thing, if there's 2 options for what it could be, we're better off just soft selling and waiting a week to decide where we need to hard sell. Well, at least I thought that was a good strategy. It's what we did on Juan Willingham the week before, but then I saw that we missed 2 of his motivations here, which caused a massive loss versus what Miami got. And the only way that we can catch up in a battle like that now is scheduling for a visit and winning the game. I think what I ended up doing was just having Willingham on a bye-week visit, but he's still committed to Miami, even though we tried to come back. But honestly, I think the fact that we gave up 591 yards of total offense the week before to Tennessee was another reason he was a bit deterred. Another thing about the 4-star Jim is he was from Florida, so he probably just wanted to stay in the state. For the rest of the prospects though, including Sneed, it looks like we might get the 5-star receiver. It's also looking like we should be able to get Marvin Atwell. But for some of the other big prospects on our board, I scheduled them for a visit in week 5 against Ole Miss. They're number 12 in the country. We get to host them. So we already have to hop into our second game of the season. And one thing I really don't like about using Auburn in any rebuild is the fact that their jersey options are so boring. Like, even if we're at home, I'm probably just going to throw us in white jerseys and let the other teams spice it up with whatever combos they have available. And you see the position we're sitting in with 2.5 minutes left on the clock. We are currently trailing by 3 points. If you want to know how we got here, Deuce Knight has thrown 2 interceptions, but we still have an opportunity to win. I mean, he does have 91 speed, so I was going to come out and run a read option, but Cam Coleman is getting pressed. So we are actually going to take our shot deep, or if they have to stick with him, we could have had the corner. Now I'm not sure how to feel about this 4th down play call. We just got to send it up the middle. Our blocks are there. That's what we wanted. But we are pretty quickly running out of time, and we tried to mix in play action to take advantage of a huge play that we're going to get around the defense on. Howard all the way in. I can't believe it just worked, but the lights are flashing. We got the checkered crowd for this game. And for the first time in my YouTube career, I am no longer living in an apartment, so filming here at midnight. I no longer care if I'm waking up a family that lives upstairs or anything. Now, we can't be giving up plays like this. If we continue to do that, Ole Miss literally might just get into the end zone within a few plays. We had some match coverage. There's a flag. It's holding. It's just got to be holding. They're showing an Ole Miss offensive lineman. You know what call is coming. And here's the thing. I can set the scene a little bit more for this night game as well. I don't think the light turned out as well as I was hoping it would. I might decide to put in some behind me on the shelves in the future, but for now, that's the LED we have, and we get a pick with them on. It is going to turn into our good luck charm in the future, repping this Auburn Navy. And I told you all, this was a big game. We had 4 stars on visit. So as we load into the next week, I think we're going to start to see our first commits. Just like that, Suma Tatua. I can never pronounce names correctly, but the 4-star Jim on the edge has committed to our program. He cares about playing time, so we're just going to have to remember to play play him. I'm sure Snead will as well. And it feels like the signings just continue to go on and on. In just 1 week, we were able to get 5 of them. We're also very close to closing out on Marvin Atwell, so our entire board is starting to really come together, though I think Georgia will take a couple prospects away from us. And as I sit here trying to schedule some more visits in the future, it looks like we're going to have to choose between either Mississippi State or South Carolina, both of them not giving us a big bonus. I will say though, since we've already hopped into 2 games this season, we have to sim basically every other game on our schedule. I want to play the one against Alabama, which won't come until the end of the year. And I'm a little bit worried that by the time we get there, things aren't going to be looking as great, but at least we have our future signing at QB. It turns out we have lost 2 games straight, 1 to Miami and 1 to USC, 52-7. So I am not happy about that, though I just realized we have not spent any of our coach points so far. We have 190 to spend. And what that means is we're going to get tier 3 in motivator for everything. All of our positions are going to get an off-season training boost. In the future, if we also just purchase recruiter now, we're going to have to spend at least another 30 points here, but we are 1 step closer to getting talent developer. We still need to have 1 more first round pick before this even becomes possible. And surely we're going to be able to bounce back and fix our season whenever Mississippi State comes to town. I mean, just off of the fact that multiple players that we're visiting that week have committed, it's a good sign. And it looks like we have improved to 4-3, but there's still about 10 to 15 players that want to transfer away from the Tigers. I feel like whenever our offense is clicking the way that it did against the Bulldogs, putting up 45 points, that is when we are at our best, where we have our chance to really just go out and annihilate teams. And there's still 5 games left on the schedule. We are still only at 1 conference loss, so there's a lot of the year left. The problem is, if you look at our schedule, every team on it is ranked besides 1. As an SEC team, we just have a lot of games coming up that are most likely not going to go in our favor. And it sure does not help that we just lost by 1 point on the road at number 6 Texas. I think to bring up my mood though, I need to show off another feature of my new office. Here we go. And it's honestly my favorite part. Instead of just sitting at a desk all day, I'm now at least able to stand, which hopefully will help me out a little bit health-wise. I kind of realized that sitting in a chair for like 12 hours a day just playing video games can't be too healthy for me, especially since I was so active back in high school. So that was my idea behind this part of the setup, but what am I supposed to do with this Auburn team when we're losing to South Carolina, like the bottom feeder of the SEC? We're losing to Florida, not a good loss. We also have to go on the road to LSU and number 9 Alabama to end the season. It's just completely collapsing. Everything that was going so well for us is falling apart. We're now 2-4 in SEC play. If we lose 1 more game, we're not going to be bowl eligible. And I have to see what that means for this recruiting class first. Are we going to see any commitments that flip? I assumed we were probably going to lose the battle to Georgia on Duck. It's okay. We still got an edge to commit to our school. They also were able to take away this free safety. This halfback doesn't want anything to do with us, but maybe I should have been paying a little bit more attention. We did not hard sell him, and he is now in his top 3, which means we should have hard sold on him like 4 weeks ago. Just to keep our bowl hopes alive, we are hopping in against the Tigers. We have to prove that we are the better Tigers, even though they're a 94 overall, even though we have to play at Death Valley. And it is going to be a night game for us. This is going to be a battle. I have never played this game standing up before. This has been a little weird for us, but eventually we're figuring it out. Deuce Knight ties things up at 13, and I think there's still about 3 minutes left, so we could get a stop and get the ball back. We might actually do that right here. It's 3rd and 10 already. Force a 3 and out. We're going to pass commit. There was a guy over there in the flat. I'm not forgetting about him. We're going to get out there with Whit Weeks and make the tackle. So those bowl hopes continue to stay alive. The punt isn't even going that far. We could easily get into field goal range, especially if we got a good return. Stadium Pulse, for having the #1 place to play in the country, is doing absolutely nothing. That is a huge surprise. And do you really think they're going to be able to stop Hardy in these short yard situations? Because I sure don't. He is out of there. I will say, one thing I like about being on my feet is I'm able to bounce around. I'm able to get into this even more. And I'm honestly just glad that everything ended up coming together. This has been a process over the last couple of months. I'm sure these pictures are going to end up covering me up, but this is what the room looked like before everything was done to it, and after the final rebuild, it all came together. Definitely a unique learning experience there. Stuff went wrong, but I can never turn down a good rebuild. And are we in the end zone? No. It's about to be 3rd and goal. The Stadium Pulse is actually kicking in here, which is not good news. We're going to keep it with Deuce Knight, though. And unfortunately, we have given LSU an opportunity to tie things up. They got Brendan Sorsby at quarterback, but they handed it off to Caden Durham. I don't really understand that. With only 25 seconds left on the clock now, they're taking their sweet time. And here we go. It's 3rd and 4. We're stuck on the defensive line. They threaded the needle. They're just going to spike it and take a field goal. We're not even going to get our chance to send in a blitz. We got to go to overtime. I feel like we're doing quite a bit just trying to make it to bowl eligibility, especially since Bama will probably beat us. But here's the thing. We didn't expect to become bowl eligible last year, and we still did. So we are going to fight for it again. Oh no. Oh no. Do not let him get into field goal range. Do not let him get into field goal range. Oh no. This is bad. This is really bad. I didn't even take a timeout to ice him. We lost the game. We lost the game off of that. You know what? If Deuce Knight wants to transfer out, he is welcome to leave after that throw. I genuinely just want to collapse and lay down on this carpet after that. I don't even know what to say. Of course, we're going to end up losing to the Crimson Tide. So we finished this season 4-8. This is so much worse than year one. And to end this season, we lost a couple more recruiting battles. This is exactly why I don't like rebuilding schools in these big conferences, because it is so difficult to end up getting over that original hump. I mean, our school grades are great. We were able to sign a pretty good class so far. Once we do it, it'll be a lot easier to continue building on our success. But then again, there's a lot of tough teams on our schedule. And I can't even fire either of these coordinators because we still want to talent developer, and we need to keep around the strategist if we want less players to transfer. If we take a look at the SEC standings, there are 6 teams that could potentially make it to the college football playoff. That's how good of a year the conference has had. And it turns out 6 did get in. The national championship went to Ohio State, though. They were able to take it home. And for some of our season stat leaders, Deuce Knight, 23 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. He is 100% transferring, so it won't really matter much. Ahmad Hardy is going to graduate or go on to the NFL. Definitely the NFL. It's crazy to me that he is a 99 overall, and he is just a junior. He didn't even redshirt. Then on the receiving side of things, Perry Thompson's going to want to leave because of championship contenders, so he's gone. Preston Howard, our tight end, is going to graduate. It looks like Malcolm Simmons will be sticking around, though. I told you, he should be a top receiver for us next year. And as we sit here looking at all the players that are leaving, we got multiple projected first-round picks. The transfer portal did us very well. They just didn't perform on the field since we finished 4-8. I can sit here trying to convince some of our quarterbacks to return, but Cutter Boley wants nothing to do with the program. Deuce Knight wants nothing to do with the program. Jackson Arnold is gonna want nothing to do with the program. I guess nobody's gonna return to Auburn. I have no idea what this team is gonna look like next season. On the bright side, our team prestige only fell to 3.5 stars, so we're still really far up there. We're gonna have plenty of hours to spend in the portal. And with 92 coach points to spend, all we need to do is go down recruiter for, I think, 30, and we'll be good. What I have done is fully focus on defensive backs. That's just gonna get us 30 to spend there, and now talent developer is available to purchase for 15. We still have a decent amount to spend, 45. And so at least for now, I'd like our offensive line to develop. That's going to help us continue to run the ball effectively, but we had a horrible season running the ball, even with a great running back. At least what I'll be able to say is there had to be some good high school prospects that helped take us to another level, and it's not like Snead, the 5-star receiver, is going to have a great dev trait. We're going to get impact on Taylor Best as well, but we got elite dev not only on the edge that we recruited, but also on Marvin Atwell, our quarterback. And if you think I'm done, I'm not. Now, for a few offensive linemen, it looks like they didn't get great dev traits, but for both of these cornerbacks, we have elite dev. I don't think I've ever gotten 4 elite dev players in one class before. It has got to be a channel record. If it's not, I would be extremely surprised. We also are going to have running backs always interested in coming to Auburn because our pro potential there is so high. We could even snag Alabama's running back, A.K. Deer. And off the little bit of scouting that I have done on him, he has 95 speed, 98 acceleration. We are going to send the house on this freshman. Now, as we head into this final week of the transfer portal period, Notre Dame is a week 4 visit on Davis, the best running back in the portal. I still want A.K. Deer over him. We scheduled him for a week 4 visit, and I spent the last week trying to figure out what his hard sell was going to be, which is very helpful because with this visit, with the 3 linemen that are also visiting, I think Deer is going to sign with us. As I look back on it, I think back on it, maybe we should have focused on other guys outside of him, but I think he's going to be a major signing, at least for the next 2 seasons. And Chauncey Bowens is another 4-star running back that we snagged as well. I feel like the transfer portal is always going to bless us with good running backs. Speaking of good running backs, I signed Jerome Bettis' son. He's actually a wide receiver. I also tried to get Cutter Boley back. He decided he'd rather go to Purdue, which makes sense. He is not going to play whenever we have somebody like Marvin Atwell that I want to start as a true freshman. And for the couple other battles that we lost, like Tennessee on a tight end for the 2nd year in a row, I'm okay with it. A.K. Deer's dev trait is going to be star, which is plenty for him to develop into a monster. With our 27 signings and 1 5-star, this class finished inside the top 13. I think considering the fact that we just went 4-8, that's not bad at all, though this team on paper, unless training results just goes really well for us, is not looking that good. And even Marvin Atwell is only coming in as a 74 overall. Since he's a freshman, he won't progress during training results. We're going to have Malik Autry as our best player. He is a 91. A.K. Deer gets up to an 88. And let's see, what are his skill caps looking like? He could potentially declare for the draft after this year. I don't think he will. He can't get any faster, but he could get a little bit more elusive. He also is platinum shifty. And on the receiving front, it is a good thing that Eric Derek Smith and Jerome Bettis Jr. took the jumps forward that they did, or else our receiving core was going to have some struggles. I will say though, with the regression that we have faced, even cutting the 62 overall, trying to bring up our team overall, I think we're going to be at a worse overall than last year. And I'm not forgetting to do it 2 times in a row. We are about to make the SEC 9 conference games instead of 8, which makes every year even harder. I mean, if you just look at the top 9 in the country, our conference has 6 of them. It's safe to say we're not going to be projected to be in the top 25 this year. It's saying that we're a 92 overall though. So who knows what that means for the season. D'Angelo Shipman, the kid that had impact development at quarterback, his accuracy is uncapped, but we're still not going to start him. As good as he could potentially be, he doesn't have elite dev like Marvin Atwell does. The pocket passing quarterback also has uncapped accuracy, and his quickness is, so maybe he'll get a little bit faster too. When it comes to his physical abilities, those still have to unlock over time, but I feel like having stuff like field general as a gold is very rare to find on a quarterback. And now that we have him, I'll probably still go after like 1 quarterback a year just so we can continue to increase our depth at that position, but we can lock in and focus on other ones that we want to improve. I think I made it pretty clear that our offensive line getting better so our running backs can have bigger holes to run through was a key part of this rebuild. So getting a 4-star gem on there, that's exciting. Jaylen Brown, a 5-star power rusher athlete. We could put him at a ton of different positions. I'd say those are 2 of the main highlights in this class. We have a couple other players that I'd like to get as well, like a cornerback. There's another tackle I'd really want. But ultimately, like half of our board is going to turn into 4-stars that aren't wanted by any other school. And I think if we could sign like 15 of those 17 guys, we'd have a really good foundation before we get to the transfer portal. When it comes to how we're going to start this season, we played Missouri State in an FCS school, so I was expecting 2-0. We also have Mississippi State and Vanderbilt coming up, so before we go on the road at number 2 Tennessee, we might be seeing 4-0. That would literally be as many games as we were able to win the entire season last year, but it could happen. I guess there's always the possibility that we drop this one as well though. How are we letting the Bulldogs hang 52 on our head? We're supposed to always have a good defense here at Auburn. We had Marvin Atwell playing well in this game, but not as well as what their offense was able to do against ours. I don't even want to go into recruiting. Just seeing that result has frustrated me, but before we sim this one, we probably need to check it out. I've been switching these guys over to hard sells, so we have to make sure that we actually guess correctly. If we didn't, we have to change things up fast. Maybe on Jaylen Brown, we're going to have to go somewhere different. We can no longer send the house on the 5-star, but I think there's only one thing that's going to be available, which makes it easy on us. If we continue to perform poorly on the field, though, you're going to see more and more of these deal breakers, which means we can't get Max Horner, who would be amazing. I want Horner. If you know anything about athlete thumpers in this game, they make for the best linebackers available. It's not even close either. How have we picked up another loss? Vanderbilt takes us down, so 2 of those wins that I thought were going to be pretty easy for us, we just couldn't come by. The rest of this year's outlook just changed a lot. But at least we still have an opportunity to go into Tennessee, beat the number 1 team in the country, and maybe change how the rest of this year plays out. If we pull this off, it's going to be big. And with the pressure on us for this game, we gotta lock in. I will say, so far, Marvin Atwell has not been too terrible. It's 14-14 as we approach halftime. We're looking to get a little bit more before the end of the half, though. We take our check down. And I just realized we had no timeouts left. We're gonna have to get off a quick pass or something so we can kick a field goal here. Awful clock management. Hike the ball and throw this away as soon as possible. How far is intentional grounding going to back us up here? It's just gonna take us to halftime because of the 10-second runoff. That's even worse. I completely forgot about the 10-second runoff. It is those 3 points that are going to come back to bite us as well, because we are in a tie game with 2.5 minutes left, and that would put us in front. It's just so frustrating whenever you have moments like that that happen consistently. And additionally, AK Deer is injured. We don't know when he's going to return. I mean, we have like 4 running backs that we can lean on, lots of 85+ overalls on this team, but I really wanted the 95 speedster out there. And that stadium pulse might end up getting to our true freshman. I was hoping with field general as an ability, he'd be a bit more composed. Probably should have just kept things on the ground though. It's going to be 3rd and 1. No instant sheds. There's not a hole to take. I mean, we have no choice but to punt it back to them. We can't go for it in this situation. We would be setting them up to win if we're not able to pick it up. And can you imagine if they hit us with a penalty there for hitting the kicker? There's way too much time here. Can we get back to that ball? Come on. No! There is just no way that Kenny Minchie dials up a throw like that. He gets out the quick one. And I'm expecting them to just run the ball since they're in field goal range, but they hit us with an RPO. And do they get in? It almost felt like they didn't want to there, but now they're throwing the rock, and we're about to leave a true freshman quarterback with less than a minute on the clock needing a touchdown. The worst part about all of this is it was completely avoidable, though we know that slot corner should be on a blitz. What are you doing? We're just getting sucked right now. Sucked into animations we don't want to see out there. Man-to-man coverage, though. It wasn't. It was like a mix. There was match out there because I was going to throw to someone that ended up being guarded. But Darrell Robinson is open off the halfback screen, and he can get out. Okay, we're going to try and hit Jerome Bettis Jr. here. He's not open, but we got a laser over the middle. And we might have just found our play right there. I mean, that route from Smith is nasty. Can we find a little bit of space in the zones 2 times in a row? Nope. We throw it straight to number 43. Straight to him. I really didn't think he was going to make a play on that ball there. We had the leverage. And if you want to blame anybody for losing this game, I think this is one where I can take that blame. To be fair, though, our freshman quarterback got a little bit rattled there. It was a tough road game for him. That's something he'll be able to overcome a couple seasons from now. We just haven't been able to pick up a single win in conference play, and that's going to continue against South Carolina. I mean, on the bright side, at least not many guys want to transfer at the moment, but I don't know how much longer that can possibly last for. When we go to schedule a visit versus Eastern Michigan, it has us as the same tier opponent. I am somehow sitting here and making Hugh Freeze look good, but listen, we're close. We're close. Just give me more time. I mean, the signings are still coming in. We're getting multiple 4-stars this week. And apparently not just 4 stars. 5-star Jalen Brown has also committed. We were able to do all of that with a 45-17 loss to Oklahoma. We got Texas, Missouri, Florida, LSU coming up. We might finish this season 3-9. I knew our roster got worse from last year, and we only went 4-8, but I didn't see us going to the bottom of the SEC. And I'm starting to think that we're just not going to be able to sort this one out. With a 38-17 loss to Texas, I don't deserve to be able to take a seat, but I need to take one. Because at the moment, we are on a 6-game losing streak, and we have multiple players that want to come on a visit to Auburn against Missouri. It is unbelievable. I can say our recruiting class is still savable if we win this game. And with a minute and a half left, we actually have a 3-point lead, but we have to prevent them from getting a field goal. Now, I should point out, there was a moment in the 4th quarter where we were up 20-3. So this is just setting up to be a typical Auburn heartbreaker. And they have so many guys open on this play. I genuinely am just so disappointed in our defense, but we decided to send the house. And that was the first time I've seen this team show any life in a while. Here we go now, 3rd and 19. Huge play for us. Match coverage, looking very good out there. We make the tackle. And this is perfect. They are attempting to go for it on 4th down. They can't kick. I mean, they're at the 41-yard line. There was no way that they were going to attempt to kick from here anyway. It's a 50-50 ball. Stop running away. Knock it. Knock it. I don't know why he decided to back off there, but it worked out. After a long 6-game losing streak in the SEC, we've gotten a win. And it was still not enough to get tight end Kiki Pohl to commit, which means in a couple weeks, he's just going to go to Clemson. I also just realized that the Iron Bowl isn't on our schedule this year. I don't know how EA messes this up. That should just be locked in no matter what you adjust with the conference, but it's not locked in, so we're going to have to set a protected rival next year. It's almost a good thing that we don't play Alabama because there's a chance that we beat Florida, we can hop in against LSU, and we somehow still make it to 6-6. And I thought it was going to be a short-lived dream, but we beat the Gators 34-21 at the Swamp. All of a sudden, if we can somehow pull off this upset, we would be finishing the year in a completely different fashion. And just look at the scenes for this game. I think we got to go ahead and get our lights on. If there's one thing about Jordan Hare, whether this team is great or awful, the fans are going to show up. And the plan for 3rd and goal is just hit a quick slant in the end zone to get on the board. It is extremely sad that it's come to the point where we didn't score until the 4th quarter. But now that we've been able to do it, I am not going to give up on the comeback. And we had everything guarded besides that drag route underneath. We really should have done a better job just watching that route. On 3rd and long, why do we have 2 guys in the same spot on the field? He was technically covering his responsibility in a mid-read, but just the fact that he didn't see him coming over really stinks. And we honestly just need to hold the Tigers to a field goal. Eli Holstein is moving like a madman, though. This is it right here. They're probably going to start chewing some clock, but we have held Harlem Berry to just 49 rushing yards on 20 carries, so they have to go 5 wide, and it's 3rd down. Again, as long as they just take a field goal, this game is going to be still possible for a comeback. But while we were playing hard flats underneath, we give up the touchdown, so we're going to lose. At least we're finishing our season against 1-10 Eastern Michigan, the team that said was an equal matchup at one point this year. It's not an equal matchup. We're going to be able to pick up the win there, 42-21, which means we're finishing 5-7. But we have to keep in mind, this was Marvin Atwell's freshman season. He threw 13 interceptions. It should only be up from here. We also didn't run the ball as effectively as I was hoping we would have. Part of that had to do with with the fact that AK Deer missed part of the season with an injury though, Eric Smith was our #1 receiver. He's going to want to transfer out due to championship contender. We're going to lose a lot of guys. And apparently it's not just players that we're losing. Our offensive coordinator, which was a strategist, which allowed us to keep talent around not wanting to transfer, has left the program. I can sit here and tell you all that I want a talent developer. I want someone that's going to allow our players to reach their peak potential, but I think I'd rather have a strategist. Without one, we're probably going to see more of our guys leave to some of the bigger teams inside our conference. And that's why of the coaches available, Clay Helton could have been cool as an architect, but there is one that we've already checked out, Pete Lembo. He's a level 41 and he is a major strategist that we want. He had job offers to be a head coach, so I'm not surprised that he rejected ours. We have to look elsewhere. And this is where I thought we might just go Bryant Vincent, but apparently there is a talent developer from Tulane with an Alabama pipeline. It could not be a better fit than this. With this one move, we now have 3 talent developers on our coaching staff. And I'll be the first to tell you all that the bonuses from that should be extremely lucrative to the point that we get to the playoff in the next year or two. Unfortunately, at the moment, it looks like there's only a few positions where he has reached tier 3, where your starting players gain XP faster. And when it comes to DJ Durkin, the defensive coordinator we kept around, similar situation. But as long as we continue to get bonus XP for all these players getting drafted, it's okay with me. That's why I'm not even going to try and convince Bowens to return. A very low chance for a 7th round pick's kind of crazy. He just wants to leave Auburn. Jerome Bettis also just decided to stay. Same thing with Eric Smith. I can't believe both those receivers have returned. And so did tight end Hollis Davidson III. So we got a lot of our offensive production back, which I did not think would happen. For the players that we lost, it's just going to help us level up a little bit quicker. We get that pro potential grade up so more players want to transfer in. And I also think the guys on our roster get a kickback with more skill points if players at that position were drafted. Maybe to unlock that though, we needed to get bonus XP for DBs, so that was tier 1. I was mistaken. And it just blows my mind that even while stuff like our brand exposure continues to fall, we stay a 3.5 star team prestige. Now, I haven't gone too much in depth on our board throughout this season, the signings that we were making, the signings that we lost. Unfortunately, the athlete linebacker didn't choose us, neither did Kiki Poole. I think I mentioned him. We also lost on this edge to Oklahoma, but that was it. We were still able to make 16 signings. We're going to see star dev on some of these guys. Some of them, it just won't give us a dev trait. Jaden Earl, the receiver, 93 speed, elite dev. He's also 6'4". I might have signed too many running backs though. We also got star dev on George Gant. That was another signing. I think there's a couple 5 stars in here. It's been a really solid class so far, and this wasn't intentional, but of all of the 4 stars from Kentucky, we signed like half of them at Auburn. I'm definitely going back to my roots. We have a chance at getting one of the top transfers. It's a running back, of course, but I also saw some quarterbacks available. I'm not sure if I want to go for those though. I mean, here's the thing. Either Air Noland or Josh Flowers would immediately come in, start for us, and probably be better than what we're currently working with. So maybe if we could get them, it would be nice to have the options, but at the same time, Marvin Atwell with his elite development, I'm expecting to shoot up to like an 85 overall in the offseason. But we can't completely bank on it, so we've gone heavy after Josh Flowers, and I don't think we're going to lose him. During a visit the week before, we were able to uncover his hard sell, though there's a lot of other 4-star prospects on our board that we have quickly fallen behind on. And even if that is the case, I still think that this class is going to come together extremely well. I know that we're coming off of a 5-7 season. I know that some of our top transfer targets are going to commit to other SEC schools, which means we have to deal with them. But in having a rough year, we were still able to bring in 30 signings. Most of our transfers don't have the best dev trait out there. And I'm still not worried because our class was ranked inside the top 10 at number 7. If anything is true about the team we're building, it's that there's a lot of young guys on here, and that's why you're able to see some of them with elite dev jump up like 12 overalls in just one off season. I think this is setting up to be special. Now, I will say I'm a little bit disappointed in Marvin Atwell. He only got up to an 82, but Josh Flowers is just an 84, so I think we're still going to end up starting the sophomore quarterback. I just really hope he doesn't end up transferring out. As you can see, his accuracy has a lot of room to grow still. And AK Deer did get up to a 92, so the junior running back is 100% going to declare for the NFL draft unless he just decides to come back for his senior year, which would only make sense if we were a playoff team. I don't know if we're going to be able to pull off anything like that, but with only 6 seniors on this roster and almost a full team, I can't recruit very heavy this year. Maybe we go after just 5 stars and then big transfer names. It's about the only thing we can do. We're honestly in a great position because we are just sitting here waiting on the guys that we have already recruited to continue to develop. And just knowing that number 14 Texas Tech is on our schedule outside of all of our tough conference games doesn't have me too excited for this year, but I just have to believe that we'll still be able to figure things out, that we'll be able to have a good season, and there are 10 5 stars on our board we're targeting. I tried to go after more than that, but they immediately locked us us out, so those are the only players that we're going to try and get straight out of high school. And I can't believe this is how we're opening up the year, but it's how the schedule turned out, and it's also raining. There have been a lot of prospects throughout this rebuild already. Georgia has taken away from us, and we actually started this game up 13-0. Ever since that moment, though, things have just gone downhill for us. We need to pick up this 4th and 6, which we do. And that gives us a little bit of hope with 8 minutes left. They haven't been able to do much either in the second half. We got a great spin move out of Deere. I just realized, though, I didn't set the protected rivals again, which means Alabama might not be on our schedule. If they're not, and we don't have the Iron Bowl 2 years in a row, it's just a disgrace for rebuilding Auburn, because that is a game that has to be played. Here we go, though. 2nd and goal. Can we pick this up? It looks like we are going to have Snead. And after getting Georgia to a 3rd and 10, Jordan Hare is rocking. All we got to do is prevent them from picking up a huge gain, and that's our zone. That was our zone. I thought we improved our defensive line a little bit better than that, where we would have gotten some pressure. But if we're not getting pressure, maybe we just got to bring it. On 3rd down, we did. That gives us full control on how this one unfolds. We got the rock. We're going for some handoffs. AK Deere gets the 1st. And I'm still waiting for him to break off a huge run. If it's not going to happen, though, maybe we got to do it through the air. Throw is going to be caught. He literally just made a Superman dive for the ball. This handoff blown up. And that is why we've gone away from the run whenever you would think we'd try and run a little bit more. It was hard to tell there, but that ball probably should have been picked. On 3rd down, I think we're just going to make this a 4th and manageable. Georgia's going to come out, send in a lot of players, or potentially just playing zone. It looks like we might have Cahill here. We're going to get it out quick, and that's why you read a defense. Give us the forward progress. We did not get cheated out of our 1st down. They still got a lot of guys up there on the line, but if we can pick up that first group of guys, we're obviously going to get a huge gain. And it's these injury timeouts that are going to continue to keep the Bulldogs in this one, because I'm trying to run off clock. Assuming we can get into the end zone here, we don't want them to have much time to respond. The blocks line up. AK Deere is in. But we have a huge 2-point conversion still coming up as well in this game. I mean, if we pull off a win like this, the season is setting up so much better than any year we have had before. It's dropped. I truly trusted Jerome Bettis Jr. I thought he would be able to hang on. I'm expecting 4 verticals. It's a draw play, though, and they're going to get 9 on the ground. It is scary when a field goal is all that it takes for Georgia to win this one, and they hand it off again. They can tell that we're ready for the pass. We almost need to bring another guy down into the box here as they hand it off 3 times in a row. But we've already been in situations like this before. They're about to laser us for like a 20-yard gain and be in field goal range. Maybe not. That short completion with no timeouts helps. It is about to be 4th and 4, and I wonder if they just go underneath to try and move the chains first. They did. This is perfect, actually. Don't tackle him in time. There's only 3 seconds left on the clock. I'm not sure they're going to get this spike off. Come on. Come on, let the rest of the clock run out. It does. We have done it. We have beat Georgia at Jordan Hare Stadium. Auburn is setting up to have a great season. And if we could just pick up a couple more wins like that, there's going to be almost no players that want to transfer out of Auburn by the end of the year. Next up on the schedule is an FCS school, so we're going to start 2-0. But somehow we gave up 28 points to them, and how much does starting 2-0 really mean? We started last season 2-0, and then you saw the collapse that followed. That is why I will not say the next 2 games on our schedule are going to be cake. Also, we're playing Kentucky, so I have to respect them a little bit. They're the reason this rebuild's being filmed in the first place, and sure enough, they beat us 27-17. We would bounce back the following week against Akron, 45-13. I'm just so disappointed that we can never have anything too nice. And I see an opportunity here to go on the road and beat a top 12 team, because that is where Arkansas is currently ranked. So we're going to hop into this game and hopefully pull it out against the Razorbacks. It really does blow my mind, though, that we just lost to Kentucky. We beat Georgia. I thought we had a good enough team to sim that game. This is literally what I'm talking about, dude. Like, I got friends out there that are taking care of a human life that probably aren't sleeping at the moment, while I'm sitting here at 2 a.m. grinding out a rebuild with Auburn, where we can't even beat Arkansas, though this huge play from Deere is going to put us back within a possession. Does this get me more pumped up than the thought of having my own little child in my arms? No, but it gets me very close to it. And if we can close out this game, we're going for the 2-point conversion, by the way. Some of our guys might be putting a child into this world. Here we go. 1st and 10. I guess we're just going to get burnt. What was that? I'm so glad we got whatever realistic boom tech system was marketed to us after seeing a throw like that one. Oh, we just gave up the flat. We gave up the flat. It leaves us with no choice on 3rd and 2. We're going cover 0. We might even blitz. We are. A touchdown wins this game. A touchdown helps us take down a top 12 team. And we don't have Davis back there on the return. We got this kid. But look at the outside. I'm seeing some press coverage over there. Are we going to be able to audible? We are going to be able to audible. and their press coverage is working pretty well, but you can't stick with the corner. You know, I need somebody to remind me at all times that you have a star running back on your roster. Just hand the football off and try and get a big play. We're not coming there, though. It is now 3rd and 12. We put some play action out there. Honestly, this is such a blind read. I felt like we needed to force it, but we should have thrown it away because we just gave them a free interception since our scheme to get somebody open didn't work. And we're not even coming close to stopping them again. Am I proud with the way that this one has unfolded? Absolutely not. I'm extremely aware that over the next few weeks, we're just going to sim some of these games, and we're probably going to lose quite a few of them, but I've set hard sells for players. Hopefully, we can sign like 4 or 5 of those 5 stars. And I kind of just gave up on this season. I'm not sure if it was the right move or not. Maybe we're about to come back to a great surprise. I mean, we saw 3 5-stars commit, but we are 5-5, and our championship contender grade is not very good. We can still hop into one more game this year. You know that South Carolina is going to beat us again. It's just ridiculous at this point. We're going to sim against Texas Tech, then play against Texas A&M. Of the players left on our board, I don't think any of them are even scheduled for a visit in that game, which is just going to hurt us. I'm not sure if we're going to close out any of these other battles. You might think getting Jason Hamrick, a 5-star quarterback's exciting, but he is a bust, so I don't think he'll be great. And let's just go ahead and get this one against the Red Raiders over with. Now, I just figured we'd lose this one, but we dominated. We beat them 42-7. Where was this type of effort the rest of the year? I think that might be the most impressive win we've had this entire rebuild. We beat a top 10 team by 35 points. We're bowl eligible. I'd still like to beat the Aggies. But even if we can't do that, I feel like less players are going to transfer just because we took down Texas Tech. You know what it is, though? It's the fact that, like I was saying, the SEC on this game is so hard to win in. Every one of our games against SEC opponents have just been brutal. They've been hard for us to pull off. We're running with a pocket passing quarterback. He somehow gets in the end zone. I don't know how Marvin Atwell managed to make that happen, but we're going to run an RPO on the 2-point conversion, and we're in. We're in. Now, we're still down by 3. We still need to get this ball back, but I thought we were about to be able to on 3rd and 2. And maybe we'll be able to get them off the field on this 3rd down. Nope, we've left the wheel wide open. We ended up using all of our timeouts and still couldn't get them off the field. But the good thing about the computers, they're kind of dumb. They're going to decide to pass it, and they drop the rock. I genuinely could not tell you what they were thinking there. On 3rd and goal, they're not even going to hand it off. They go with the halfback screen, and they're kicking 3. We don't have a great opportunity, but we might still be able to come back. This is so much better than maybe getting the ball back with like 2 seconds or not touching the ball ever again. In order to have success, though, with 33 seconds left, we need to get a huge gain on this first play, and we're going towards the sideline. That's got to be a catch. There's no review or anything. Stadium Pulse is definitely causing a little bit of a effect on us as well. I think we're just going to beam it. I think we're just going to beam it and bring it in. We still have 19 seconds left. This is our opportunity. Come on, snap the ball. I am spamming the button. What do we have? We have our crosser? Nope. Okay, what we need to do is we really need to get out of bounds here. I'm not sure we're going to get off another play if I go up the middle, but we might just send it. Let's go for it. Let's go for the aggressive catch. It goes into their hands. It didn't look like they gave them the interception, but his feet were in bounds. And so there it is. We finished the season 6-6. I'm pretty sure all 6 losses came in conference play. That is just going to cause a lot of our best players, some of our best starters, to want to transfer instead of maintaining them and keeping them around. Atwell might leave as well, which would not be good. In fact, this might be crazy, but we are going to fire our talent developer and we're going to look for a strategist. I did it on both sides of the ball. I'm going all in with the roster that we are currently building. I'm going to try and maintain as many players as we can, even if they just went 6-6. And I'm not sure if that's going to be a great decision. I'm hoping our bowl game is against an easier team like a Charlotte, but no, it's a USC. And look at all the options we have to hire from. I mean, we have so many good coaches that we could bring in, but we specifically want a strategist, not a talent developer anymore. For our offensive coordinator, we're going to have a little bit of competition on Tony Sanchez. He's either going to be the offensive coordinator in the SEC or he's going to be a head coach for Cal. That feels like too good of an opportunity for him to turn up or turn down. I feel like my brain is just starting to turn to mush. I am tired. And after a week, we'll see if we can get either of these coordinators. At least one of them signed with us. This is the screen that you want to see. Tony Sanchez, our offensive coordinator. We have a chance to get the defensive coordinator as well. And we do. Maybe not as many players are going to transfer now. We legitimately just went all in on trying to retain this roster by getting those coaches and getting rid of our talent developers, which would make us better over time. But I guess we'll just see if that's worth it against USC in this bowl game. I think we'll pull it off. On the final play of the first half, we decided to go for it, but we dropped the ball. And instead of just taking our field goal, going up 10-0, Instead, we're only going to have a 1-possession lead. It's definitely decisions like that that are going to affect us as well, because you see the situation. 3rd down, 2 minutes left, all tied up at 14. It's just another game where if you take your points, you're in a much better spot. I think we can still close this one out, though. Minute left on the clock now. We're going to hit him with play action. Try and get our tight end open, but he's not there. You're wondering why we didn't just feed it to Deer, because we're going to have to pass on 3rd down as well, which is going to be caught. Here's the thing, though. It's 4th and inches, so we're going to go for it. We're going to be aggressive, and do we have it? We do. All of a sudden, getting a field goal and winning this bowl game, the Cheez-It Bowl, is still possible. We can beat that linebacker with AK. We should also be able to just dump this next pass off to him and hopefully catch it. Our star could not hang on to the ball, though. On 3rd down, he gets enough. And I really don't know if we can hit a field goal from this distance. I certainly would prefer not to. Tight end angle route. It's going to be open. Davidson the third wanted to transfer a couple years ago. We convinced him to stay, though, and he almost made the play of the game. We're going to try and center this up, or we'll just punch it in. I think from this spot, we can hit a field goal. And if we shank this, that would be awful. I really shouldn't be proud of winning the Cheez-It Bowl. I don't think Auburn fans are very impressed with what we've been able to do so far in this rebuild. But just give me time. We're close. I will admit, currently I feel like Hugh Freeze 2.0, but maybe the breakthrough is still coming. Marvin Atwell has set multiple Auburn passing touchdowns and passing yard records, which would be very good news for next year if he doesn't transfer away. Now, I think once the coordinators actually sign at the end of the season, his brand exposure is going to be low enough to where he wants to stay at Auburn. And on the rushing side of things, AK Deer was amazing for us, but he is definitely declaring for the NFL draft. Josh Cahill also wants to transfer. But there is a reason that we brought in not just one, but 2 strategists, and let's see if it pays off. I still believe that if it does, we could see ourselves in this playoff picture next season. And honestly, I feel like these losses are pretty manageable. I'd like to get Eric Smith back. He's decided to stay. He's one of our better receivers. Alvin Henderson didn't like his playing time, and he's not returning, which is not good news since we are also going to lose AK Deer. But we should have kept him on the field a little bit more. Hollis Davidson III is actually going to leave this time around. We don't really need Shipman, but I don't know how much we need these freshmen either. I think they were 5-star prospects, so the fact that we didn't put them on the field made them want to leave, and we only had 6 seniors leave. That right there is why we didn't go after too many high schoolers in recruiting, though since we only signed 5 stars, all of them are going to want to immediately play next year or they're going to transfer. And the more I think about it, it's actually pretty frustrating because we were able to bring in 7 of them, so that's a lot of players demanding playing time. We're also going to have the transfer portal and make our splash on some more guys, though not as many big running backs are interested as they were in previous seasons. But I figured things would still work out for us. I'm not so sure if they're going to now, though. Cameron Williams has a visit to Alabama, and I don't think the running back is going to choose us during week 4. We're just beating out Arkansas at the moment, who is a tier 4 pipeline. If they get the hard sell right, they might be able to get Larry Pecco. And then Zay Thomas, who I was setting up for a huge week 4 visit, already committed to Georgia. You know what, though? We ended up getting Larry Pecco, so that is some good news. I tried my best to put together a really good transfer class, but most of our transfers are going to be 3 stars. I really don't know how impactful they're going to be. I just wanted to make sure that we had some solid depth on this team. North Texas beating us for a receiver never feels good. I really wish Cameron Williams could have just signed with us. And even though we had by far the most 5 stars in our class, since we didn't get like any 4 stars without going after many high schoolers, we did not have a top 3 class in the country. Now, I think to make sure we have a good running back room outside of Larry Pecco, what we have to do is move one of these gadget receivers over to that position. Lamar McNabb is going to be a better running back than the other gadget receiver. He isn't as fast, though. Oh well. I'm also going to make another position change to get us a monster at tight end. Josh Cahill has 50-50 as an ability. He's a 91 overall vertical threat, and he's going to get up to a 95 after training results. We also saw a +10 on Marvin Atwell. He's gone to the NFL after this season. We got 2 cornerbacks. Both of those kids had elite development. I remember recruiting them alongside Soma Tattoo because I don't know how to say his name. But honestly, there's no reason this team won't be a 99 overall. Last year we were a 97 and we couldn't even get 8 wins. Not sure how much it's going to mean. We also saw a +10 on another tight end. And we finally built ourselves a roster that should be a playoff contender. We still got to cut players though because we've over recruited again. I've also not forgotten this time to put Auburn's 2 biggest rivals on the the schedule as a protected opponent, Alabama and Georgia. So from here on out in this rebuild, I am sure our conference schedule is going to look absolutely miserable. We got Ole Miss, LSU on here as well, but you know what? I think we have seen worse. Things have definitely flipped pretty fast though, from us having a bunch of underclassmen to having 19 seniors and 34 juniors, so we're going to have to recruit extremely well out of high school this year. But at the same time, for all we know, this could be a national championship winning team. It'll really just depend on how we perform in sim. If the season doesn't end up going the way that we want it to, there are plenty of great prospects for the future that we've got on our board. We always find a few 4-star gyms that we want to target. All of these kids being on offense, obviously running back, still a big position for us. And I've only left one 5-star on the board this time just because if they aren't on the field immediately, they will transfer, and I think we're going to lose a lot of the 5-stars that we recruited last season. I mean, they're just not ready to start immediately. Either the transfers or other guys that we already had on the roster are better than them. We can sim against both UAB and an FCS school. With scores of 48-3 and 77-0, they were just two matchups I was not going to worry about us losing. We have to look at some of the stats from this game though, because Marvin Atwell was able to throw for 6 touchdowns while we also rushed for 5. And it's just going to be another season of us needing to play this rivalry versus Georgia since it's one of the toughest games on our schedule. Headed on the road, we are the higher overall team on paper. We might be the highest overall team in the country, but we know that just a few points doesn't cause that much of a difference. It all depends on who plays best. And when you have a really slow start like we have offensively, it's very hard to pull off a win. I can't believe it, but as we hit this 3rd and 6, we have still not been able to get onto the board. They batted that throw down. And I'm not normally one to settle for a field goal, but that's what I feel like we need to do in this situation. We're headed into the 4th quarter, needing to have a very, very strong defense. And after getting the ball back, we just need to be a little bit better about some of the throws we're making. Our offense has been shut down so hard in this game that Marvin Atwell has thrown for just 59 yards, but we're taking a shot to Jerome Bettis Jr. And with one throw, Marvin Atwell has doubled the amount of passing yards he's had in this game. I mean, Georgia's got to be the best team in the country. We haven't rushed for any yards against them either. Setting us up for a major 3rd and goal. Looks like man-to-man coverage. We're going to have our drag route, but we're not in. I think we just got to spread them out. We're going to spread them as wide as we can and then penetrate up the middle for a touchdown with the exact same plan on a 2-point conversion. Now we're going to audible because I didn't like the look we were getting. They changed up their coverage. So we audible back to a run and the computer adjusts as well. Are they cheating? I mean, I feel like they have to be cheating. They had everyone in position depending on what we wanted to do. That is what we are up against. We're also dealing with the fact that they just got a 3rd and 8, making getting them off the field even more challenging with that quick throw. I think if we're going to get a fast blitz in, we just got to put 7 guys up on the line because that last blitz didn't work. And here we go. 3rd down. It looks like they're not going to get it out in time, which is all that we were asking for. Now, we don't have a running back that can break off like an 80-yard run this year. We don't have the speed for that, but Pecco's going to be able to get like 20 on the ground. And I think this is a great opportunity to just mix in the play action, see if we can get the Bulldogs to bite, and if we can get a deep pass going our way, which is exactly what's happening. Ivy's open. He's at the 26. I've also found another play in this playbook that is just awesome. We got a motion over with Cahill before a stretch. This might be the best run play in the game if the blocks actually work out. We know that that's asking a lot, though. We're just going to look for our crosser. Wide open. We got Hyonski, and he is going to get in. But even if we've overcome this deficit so far, Georgia still has the ball, throwing it straight at us. This is it. 3rd and 13. Are they going to throw it at us again? No. They take a check down. There's no way he just turned upfield and almost got the first out of that. Horrendous pursuit out of some of our guys there. We got to be better than that. We're a 99 overall team. We cannot let them get plays that could potentially change things. Oh my gosh, we almost broke that off. Not the fastest kid in the world, but he's been great for us as a slot receiver and as a returner. Nowhere to go on the ground. But I feel like if we could just get this hot route out, Jerome Bettis Jr. might be gone. I wanted him on a streak so badly. I don't even know if he's that fast, but we're taking that chance, and it's going to be intercepted. It's going to be intercepted, which they're also returning. We just gave the game back to the Bulldogs for no reason. I mean, if we could just get them to head to overtime, that would be perfect. They make the throw on the run, though, and somehow catch it with the dude inside him. So this is it. They're going to hand it off, and they're going to get a couple more. I'm aware of the situation. We have audibled to a blitz where I think we're just going to send 7. We got in kind of quick. How do you not catch it? I mean, that could have been a major difference maker right there, and they tested us. It's out of reach? We were there to make a play on the ball. Talk about a well-placed throw. We couldn't have gotten our hand to it. And they're literally just going to center things up here. Maybe we let them get closer and then they miss because they're so close to a hash mark. It seems like such a crazy strategy, but I've seen teams miss from that spot. And I cannot believe that this is how this one's going to end up. Wait, get out of bounds? Get out of bounds? Stop fighting in. We might have had an opportunity to get off a Hail Mary, but it wouldn't have mattered. Georgia is going to take us down at their place. Deep South oldest rivalry has gone to them throughout most of this rebuild, unfortunately. But they've also been able to out-recruit us for a lot of prospects that we wanted ourselves. I mean, this is clearly the best team that is going to come through Auburn, though, in at least the next couple of seasons. So I'm hoping that we bounce back against Oklahoma. And it was a close one. They had more first downs. They had more total yards of offense, but that's not enough to win a football game. We beat them by 8. So we've improved to 3-1. And if I scroll to the very bottom of the top 25, you're going to see that Auburn is ranked behind Rice. I also noticed some other teams that are on our schedule, like Florida and Washington State. We're going to have to sim against the Gators. We don't have a choice. And it turns out we were able to survive a very close scare against Florida, 39-37. This team has stumbled into 4-1, but I could quickly see things unfolding very bad for us just with the way we've won some of these games, and this being the rest of our schedule. I mean, we're not even guaranteed to take down Missouri on the road. We sim this, we might lose, even if they're an 80 overall team. I will say, though, on the recruiting front, we have some visits coming up that we're going to need to go our way if we want to sign somebody like a 5-star defensive tackle. Georgia's going to run away with this one. And they're also going to get this 4-star linebacker. Some of the players that I was waiting to go after, they've now put a lot of hours into. They just managed to out-recruit us every single year. But at least at the same time, we're still getting some prospects from their state. Jaleel House is a tight end that was a 4-star gem from there, which we can appreciate. And I feel like we've done a really good job just recruiting in our pipelines. Marvin Atwell set the Auburn career passing yards record against Missouri. That alone didn't guarantee that he had a good game against them, but he did throw for 353 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers, while Larry Pecco rushed for 139, 3 touchdowns. I think you can expect us to beat them by a couple of possessions. And midway through the season, we are currently sitting at 5-1, moving on up to number 17 in the country, but we are about to go up against number 15, Washington State. Now, they are just a 74 overall team, so we should thrash them. I actually want to compare our rosters. I really just want to make sure that they are as bad as I think they are, because some of our best players, 95 overalls, but they do have some 90 overalls. They also have a lot of starters above an 80. And I know for a fact that we had multiple players on a visit for this matchup, so if we didn't win, then I don't think we'd be seeing commits like the 5-star defensive tackle from Alabama. We've really stayed well in our pipelines between Alabama and Georgia. I mean, they are recruiting hotbeds, and it's serving us well. But I should point out, in the same week that we got that 5-star defensive tackle, Georgia got a 4-star defensive tackle, so they are still going to always get talent. A lot of our guys that we were going after originally, they've already signed. I've also found a lot of 4-stars that just aren't being targeted by schools this late into the season. And I do want to point out that I thought our defense would be a little bit better than it's been so far this season. I mean, we're getting wins. We're scoring a lot more than the other teams that we're playing. I just thought we'd hold teams to a little bit less. It's just something I'm picking up on. But whenever we got 3 elite dev players in the same class on the defensive side of the ball with Sama Tattoo on the edge and then these 2 corners, we knew that we were still going to be pretty dominant there. Marvin Atwell was just that 4th elite that was amazing. I really wish there was a way to retain him if we don't end up going on and winning a championship. I wish we could promise him that he might win the Heisman Trophy or something. That's what EA needs to add to the next college football game. They need to add promises back into it. I just feel like promises could be such a great addition with how the transfer portal works. You could get players to stay. You could try to get players to come to your school based off of promises. And let's say that you don't honor that promise. You tell a player he's going to play and he doesn't play, then it takes a hit to your coach reputation or something, so less players believe you. I don't know. That would just be a great system to see EA implement in the future. We beat Ole Miss by 8 points, by the way. I mean, we've just been cruising through this schedule up to number 10 in the country, but I figured as a 7-1 SEC school, we'd be ranked a little bit higher. If we don't beat LSU here, we're probably going to fall back down to like 16 or 17. And I think if we want to reach the playoff this year, then we're only going to be able to have 2 losses on our schedule. Another big game that's coming up is the Iron Bowl against Alabama. But first, we're just going to head to Death Valley, play this rivalry, and hopefully take down LSU. I mean, it feels like it was just a week ago when I was rebuilding these Tigers on the channel. There's just been a lot of firings inside the SEC this season. And with 5 minutes left in this game, we're currently down by 3 points. When you move a wide receiver to tight end and he still cannot catch that ball, it's pretty frustrating. I think we're about to throw in a double coverage here. Absolutely the blindest read of all time out of a quarterback that's supposed to be going for a better season. Marvin Atwell has let everybody down, but they don't get this 3rd down. And that gives us 3.5 minutes on the road to win this game, potentially with a touchdown. We did not clutch up whenever we had to do this against Georgia, though. That's the difference maker between being a national championship or even playoff team and not. So I'm not excited. It's already 3rd and 12. We're just sending this ball up. It wasn't even open. I thought he was on a comeback route or something, but he wasn't. They could return this for a touchdown. And does the gameplay get much worse than this? Because I feel like right now, we're not doing too well. If this is a run, we have a guy prepared to come off of the edge, and he hits him immediately. So we're going to get that same setup going again. If they hit us with a counter, could be a little bit of trouble, but it looks like they're just going to motion the guy over, get a flag. And I think we can still hold the Tigers to a field goal, which would keep us in this game. On 2nd and goal, it is going to be a run, and they're going to get 4, which sets us up for this major down. I don't like that we're stuck on the line. If we've only been able to score 17 points in this game, we're definitely not going to score 10 points in like the final minute or two. It's just not happening. And I didn't even mean to throw that ball there. That probably should have been an interception for us. Do we have the arm strength to hit this throw though? No, they should have picked it. I just feel like we have let this team down. Marvin Atwell's not been the guy that we needed him to be in this matchup. And we're going to be looking for the seam here. We got it. We have it. I highly doubt that they leave that as open as it was again, but they might. Or we can try and go over the top again. This time, it works out. We're still on our feet. And we saved all 3 of our timeouts, so there's no reason to even go for the onside kick. We are going to have to play field positioning. I really can't imagine that they're going to throw the football here, but they did. They threw the rock, and we need to bump them out of bounds. I can't believe it. Why are they throwing the ball with the game on the line? All they had to do was run. This time, they actually do, but they get the pitch out. We're lucky he's quick. And here we go. 3rd and 16. It's going to be a carry straight up the middle. The punt is also horrendous, so we just need to fair catch this as quick as possible or try and slip out of there. I mean, there's definitely hope, especially if they're going to give us a cover 3 look that could have been intercepted. That's about what I would have expected, though, with the way that we have been playing in this game. We're going to try and hit the window again, this time completing the pass. We got to get this snap off extremely fast, though. We're going to roll out. We're going to try and hit the sideline. Don't catch that. We just needed the clock to stop. Go ahead and ice us in Death Valley. I mean, this is our playoff hopes right here. It's been a horrendous game to get to this point. But we have our opportunity. We have our opportunity. It's going to be wide. No! No! I thought after the collapse that we saw out of Atwell, we had somehow clutched up and we were going to win this thing in OT. At least we're only going to drop to number 13 in the country with our ranking, but as you can see, we still have some of our best players that are going to want to transfer. And it feels like any hope of us making the SEC championship was just taken away. We're also only able to hop into 1 more game this season, so simming multiple matchups against teams like South Carolina, who typically beat us, might not work out. But for the first time in this rebuild, it almost feels like luck is on our side, because in previous seasons, it certainly was not. I might have spoken too soon though, because we still got to get through Mississippi State before we hop into our final game against Alabama. I just realized the only games I've hopped into this season, we've lost. So that's definitely something that needs to change. Marvin Atwell has set the Auburn single season passing touchdowns record. I mean, he's having a great year. Not good enough to be in the Heisman Trophy watch, but he does have 32 touchdowns to just 6 interceptions. Georgia, of course, has a quarterback up here. Oregon's going to have Julian Lewis. And if we take a look at the conference standings, we might still be able to get into the SEC championship, which would be against Georgia because they've already played all 9 of their conference games. Alabama, we would then have the tiebreaker over, plus we'd have a better record than them. Tennessee is the only team we might not have the tiebreaker pass. And since we haven't played the Volunteers head-to-head, I'm not sure how all of that would work out. They probably play Vanderbilt to end the year. It looks like their losses have come to Washington, then LSU, and Alabama. So did they beat Georgia? They didn't. I think we would be better than they would. I guess there's no point in arguing it, though. We have to beat Alabama in the Iron Bowl first. Then we can find out whether or not we've got to the SEC championship. Alabama is in 99 just like we are. And I should have known that this was going to be a night game at Jordan-Hare Stadium, so we got to get prepared for it ourselves. I really need better LEDs in here. I don't know how it'll come out in the video, but it's a much better vibe to sit in here doing rebuilds. And after that touchdown putting us up by 3 possessions, I thought this game was over, but it's not. Alabama quickly went down, scored a touchdown. We're going to have to punt it back to them. They're trailing by 10 with 2.5 minutes left. And there it is. The first time I've ever gotten a flag on a punt hitting the returner. At least we've gotten them to a 4th and 1. that we are going to knock out. So we've won the Iron Bowl. It actually wasn't that close. It's one of the first games this season where I feel like our defense showed up the way that I thought they would. Our offense is certainly still lacking though, so I'm going to try out Texas Tech's playbook for the first time. It also looks like we're going to get to test out how good our offense is against Georgia, a team we had to play earlier in the year because we made it to the SEC championship. And even if this recruiting class doesn't have as many 5 stars as we've had in previous seasons, it is going to be the deepest class I've ever pulled together, so it doesn't matter to me whether or not we have success this year because I think in the future we're going to be able to have even more. Granted, a lot of those players are either halfbacks or wide receivers, but we had a huge need for receiver on this team. And I really felt like the transfer portal wouldn't have been enough to replace all the guys that we've needed because at most we'd only have 4 receivers returning from this roster. I will say though, being ranked number 7 in the country is not a great spot to be in because there's a chance that we have to play in this SEC championship. Win or lose, we still don't get a first round bye being a top 4 team, so we might have to play 5 straight if we wanted to win it all. But I guess at the same time, it doesn't necessarily matter whether or not we take down Georgia. We are going to be a playoff team. I mean, what had I been telling you all? We were so close. It just took us actually having some luck in sim. And I honestly think we're just going to stick with having strategists as our coordinators instead of trying to fire them and find some talent developers. Ever since we brought them on, we've been playing better. I don't know what's been causing it, but if that's it, I don't want to switch things up. And with a quick look at the injury report, we're missing our best tackle, but he's only going to be out for 1 more week, so that's some good news. And I think we got plenty of good defensive backs. It would be really nice if we could lift that SEC trophy. But I'm starting to wonder if it's been the playbook that's the problem or if it's just been us. As you can see, approaching the end of this game, we're currently only down by 7. Smith is about to run a deep post in man-to-man coverage so he can get open. And convincing Eric Smith to return and not transfer was one of the best things that we did at the end of last year. I will say though, since Georgia has it on a 3rd and 4 with 2 minutes left, things aren't great. They're about to get in. And I almost wonder if we should just let them so we have time to respond. I highly doubt that we're going to see man-to-man coverage after the last play, but we did. Eric Smith had a double team on him though, so he was not able to get open. We just need to get some positive gains to get this drive moving. If there's a mismatch on this team, it's our tight end. So we're going to be looking up the seam for Cahill. And they better not run man-to-man coverage on him again, because if they do, we should have had him. Never mind, it's about to be 2nd and 16. We have started to chew some clock just because if we get in, I don't want them to have time to respond. And this is the same concept of RPO we've been running this whole video. It's just a little bit more spread out. Here is where Auburn football can return to normal though, keeping things on the ground, having a good running back, and letting Larry Pecco finish this drive off. There's only 13 seconds left. He's got a gaping hole to step between. And I've heard this quarterback trap play is really good, but they have 6 guys there while we only have 5. It seems like they're going to send a blitz out of man-to-man coverage. If they drop into zones, maybe we look for one of these curls. I want to go for this. I want the SEC championship to end right now. We have our slant, and we might have to face Georgia another time in the playoff if we both end up doing well, but we are going to take them down finally. Now, I believe a win like that should launch us into the top 4, so we get a first round bye, but we were sitting at number 7, so I'm not sure if it's going to or not. Oregon looks very scary. We do have that bye. And so do the Ducks. They are on our side of the bracket. Georgia is as well. We're going to get the winner of Duke and Clemson. I was actually just scrolling Twitter and I saw a playoff projection that would have the Blue Devils in it in real life, which seems crazy to me, but just made me think maybe college football 26 isn't that unrealistic. Maybe they somehow stumble their way in. And recruiting still seems to be going pretty well for us. Duke took down Clemson. This is a much more preferred quarterfinal matchup. I will say, though, I wish Oklahoma State was able to beat Georgia, whether the Ducks win or the Bulldogs win. If we're able to get past Duke, I don't want to face either one of those teams. And we should probably look at our season stats. Marvin Atwell did not win any awards. No one on this team won a single award, but we were able to get 19 rushing touchdowns with Larry Pecco, over 1,000 yards on the ground, 500 out of Lamar McNabb, our backup. And then on the receiving front, Brock Hinowski was our #1 receiver. He was a monster out of the slot. I was not expecting him to be the #1 guy. But it's nice that we're moving the ball around to all of our receivers. They're getting their looks. They're getting their touches. We average more points per game than the Blue Devils. I hope we don't lose. I want us to at least get to the semifinals this season. We deserve to make it there with a 99 overall team. And so far, I feel like we're just proving the fact that the SEC is so dominant. We're only about to go up 14-0, where they're continuing to try and just send guys, preventing us to get in. But it truly has felt like so far Duke isn't going to stand much of a chance in this matchup. We're running around with our pocket passing quarterback throwing it to the corner. We hang on. And how is Larry Pecco catching that ball? You're supposed to be a running back. I mean, our guys came out to play today. We also got some really unique RPOs in this playbook. I did not mean to run this one, but that's how much better we are. And I think you can see how we were able to just coast by Duke, moving on to the semifinals. That is where we are going to run into the Bulldogs, though, for the third time this season. You know it's going to be a good game. And let's just say we hypothetically get past them. We'd have to play either undefeated Miami or number 4 Ohio State in the national championship. If we are going to somehow win it all this year, it is going to be a battle, but it is something I believe is achievable just because we got so much talent on this roster. And I guess I can tease the fact that once I am done with this rebuild, whether it's after this season or it takes a couple more years, the next video coming out is going to be an Imperialism, and I've got to add in some FCS teams. I am really looking forward to that, but is that Goldstein out there on the field? That is not good news. We've lost our starting quarterback, Marvin Outwell, with a shoulder strain. It says he's only going to be out for a quarter, so it's manageable. But to have a backup quarterback out there in this environment is very tough. He's going to make the right read on third down where we get the first. And I think we just got to keep Zach Goldstein running these RPOs where he can make some shorter passes like this. On 2nd and 9, we hand it off. There's a major hole for Larry Pecco. And the longer this game goes on, the better I'm feeling. It's 4th and 7 for Georgia. They're not kicking a field goal to get it within 4. They're going for it. And we have a sack. The ball is loose. They scooped it up. I'm very thankful they blew the play dead because they might have been able to just run past the marker there. And we have our quarterback back. We are going to be headed backwards, though, because of a holding call. And if we could get some match coverage out there on the field, we'd be able to beat them deep. So I was hoping for it. Looks like it's more going to be a cover 3 match. It was not quarters. We should probably just be handing the football off, which is going to set us up on a 3rd and 13. It feels like we will be punting this ball back to the Bulldogs. We'll see what defense they go with here. We have our crosser, but needed more time. And there's no guarantee they go for it if they don't pick up this 3rd down here. They're just sending up a prayer that we're going to be able to intercept. And we're basically being begged to just close out this game. We're being handed this one. Hopefully, we can actually take care of business. This halfback screen is going to make a big difference. I mean, there's not much more Georgia can do once we're in field goal range. We're going to have to hit a kick, but we should have a 2-possession lead even if we don't get the first. Though I wouldn't put it past our offensive line to open up a gaping hole for us that we can just run straight through. Somehow, Larry Pecco gets out of there. He's still on his feet. And I should have been coming out in I-form type for more of this video. Some badly timed injury timeouts are going to force us to settle for 3, but we're going to hit it. And it's not like the Bulldogs would do anything with the final 2 minutes anyway, which means Auburn is headed back to a national championship. I felt like this team was extremely solid, but it took a playbook switch for us to live up to that potential. And I just found this new screen on this game. I've never noticed this before, but it tracks how many hours you've played the games, how many national championships, rivalry wins, the trophies you've earned. This is pretty cool. What I wanted to figure out, though, was who are we playing in the national championship, and it's going to be the Miami Hurricanes. The last time that we faced off against an ACC school, we didn't have many issues at all, but they do score more points per game than us. Obviously, they've not lost a single game this season. And another little advantage that they're getting is this game takes place in Hard Rock Stadium. I feel like anytime we run into Miami in the playoff in any of these videos, they always have the home field advantage. But it really hasn't made a difference at all. They're currently down 14-0. We're about to go up 21-0. Or maybe we're going to choke, which would keep them in this game. I'm going to go for it here. Throwing the slant, hanging on to it. And they truly just haven't seen much offensive success in this video as they come back at the end. They're doing their best, but they needed to go for the 2-point conversion to make it a 2-possession game. I don't know why they're kicking. I swear, somehow EA made the computer dumber than they were last year, because last year they would have gone for it. I mean, it works out for us. I just wanted to close out the win, but it would be nice to see the computer act a little bit smarter. We get that national championship with Auburn. I think it only took us 5 years. If I made this a 5-year rebuild challenge, though, I would have been sweating it out because it wasn't looking like this season was going to go this well. All in all, though, we had multiple record breakers on our offense that have put their name in school history forever. And I'm pretty sure that all of them, Marvin Atwell, all of our receivers, including Brock Hinoski, they're going to be gone to the NFL. But they should be. There was nothing else for them to prove at the college level. We had almost our entire starting lineup get drafted into the NFL. And I hope you all are ready for a massive Imperialism video, because that is going to be the next one I drop on this channel.